The girl put on the mask and then entered the party. Everyone turned their eyes to her. Immediately, a man in a white suit approached and invited the girl to dance. But unexpectedly, when faced with that invitation, the girl didn't care and turned around and left. At this time, from the crowd, a man wearing a Zeus god mask appeared. The girl knew that her chance had come and immediately took action. She went straight to pull the man onto the stage. Then, she frantically made seductive moves. Every move involved physical contact. The girl's goal was to attract this man, then marry into a wealthy family to enjoy a comfortable life. In Korea, there is a way to get rich quickly, which is to join the matchmaking playground of the upper class. By marrying into a wealthy family, one can change one's fate, and Rex is the highest class matchmaking company in the whole of Korea. Those who come here are either young masters of tycoons or famous tycoons in the business world. Only gentlemen with billions of won in assets can become members here. The highest level here is VIP members with assets of up to hundreds of billions of won. Of course, the girls invited here are also very talented people. They are not only girls with rich families and outstanding appearances, but also have to be well educated. But this is only a necessary condition to enter the Rex organization. After entering the organization, they had to go through countless other selections from the person in charge of Rex. In the end, only the most outstanding girls were chosen to become official members. Every year, they had to pay hundreds of millions of won in membership fees to be able to attend the meeting. The founder of this organization was Mrs. Yoo-seung. She always believed that marriage was a business. Only when she had enough money in hand would this business be profitable. Yoo-seung was like that. She married a paralyzed billionaire and then relied on her husband's money to found Rex. Recently, she had a bigger plan. That was to hold the most luxurious and classy banquet ever. Yoo-seung did this because a classy rich man would appear at this meeting. The man's name was billionaire Hyung-ju, and he was a VIP member of the organization. Not only is Hyung-ju a listed company tycoon, he is also young and handsome. It can be said that he is the most perfect subject since Yoo-seung founded the company. Because Hyung-ju is both rich and single, he has made many girls yearn to have him. In the Rex organization, there are also women who will stop at nothing to enter a wealthy family. Yoo-hui is one of those people. She was lucky enough to meet Hyung-ju once. Moreover, she is also very familiar with the rich men in the top 10 wealth rankings. In order to approach Hyung-ju to enter the wealthy family, Yoo-hui did not hesitate to spend a large sum of money to become a VIP member of Rex. She even directly bribed the manager in the hope that she could marry Hyung-ju. On the other hand, the girl Hye-seung and Yoo-hui are two completely opposite people. Hye-seung is just an ordinary, honest person. Every day, she works as a university lecturer. Moreover, she is currently divorced and is raising a 13-year-old child alone by herself. Today, while she was at work, she received a text message. The content displayed above was an invitation to join Rex's date. This made Hye-seung feel suspicious because she had clearly never participated in such activities. Why did she receive an invitation from a member? When Hye-seung got home, her mother gave her a business card. On it was the name of the Rex company. Finally, Hye-seung understood that it was her mother who had registered her. Her mother said that there would be many wealthy people at this date, hoping that she could seize the opportunity. But Hye-seung had no intention of remarrying, so she was not interested. Furthermore, she knew very well that the fee for this appointment was very high. So she immediately asked her mother how much money she had spent to register her. Her mother thought for a while and then held out a finger. Seeing this, Hye-seung couldn't sit still anymore. She didn't know where her mother got 10,000 won from. Her mother didn't want to answer, just told her not to ask anymore. She said that she had her reasons for doing so. Her mother only hoped that her daughter would have a comfortable life in the future. Even if she went bankrupt, she would be willing. Otherwise, she wouldn't want to spend that much money just to buy an entrance ticket. Although Hye-seung was very angry at her mother's actions, after accidentally seeing the family heirloom ring on her mother's hand disappear, she understood that her mother had sold the most important thing for her. That was where the 10,000 won came from. Although he didn't want to disappoint his mother, Hye-seung had no longer dreamed of getting married again. So the next day, she went to Rex's facility to return the card. The counter staff took the card, but asked her to wait a little longer because the card return had to be personally handled by the manager. At this time, Yoo-seung, after finding out the requirements of the big client, just returned to the club and met Yoo-hui, who had bribed the manager. Yoo-seung recognized Yoo-hui as a famous lawyer at first sight, so she greeted Yoo-hui enthusiastically first. But when Yoo-seung called Yoo-hui's name, it surprised Hye-seung, who was standing at the side. When she wanted to turn around to confirm the woman that made her hated, she accidentally broke the vase next to her. The loud noise attracted everyone's attention. The atmosphere instantly became extremely tense. Hye-seung and Yoo-hui stared at each other. Their eyes were not very friendly. What exactly happened between the two of them? It turned out that Hye-seung had a happy family before. Not only did she have a warm and caring husband, but she also had a daughter with excellent academic performance. Moreover, her husband was an important employee of the company, and his career was on the rise. Their family was extremely happy until Yoo-hui appeared and ruined everything. Yoo-hui, at that time, was a lawyer for Hye-seung's husband's company. She secretly seduced Hye-seung's husband, plotting to take all his assets. Hye-seung's husband, Nam-sik, could not control his infatuation and eventually betrayed his wife. The next day, he proposed a divorce to Hye-seung for Yoo-hui. At first, Hye-seung still thought that her husband was talking nonsense because he drank too much. However, who would have thought that Nam-sik would pack his bags and leave for real? Only then did Hye-seung realize that her husband was not joking. She painfully asked Nam-sik if he had an affair, but the only response she got was silence, which completely broke her down. Hye-seung cried and begged her husband not to leave her. She had spent 15 years of her youth for this family, even giving up her ideals. Their daughter had also achieved top results. Why did her husband leave them? She agreed to forgive her husband, hoping that he would change his mind and stay by their side, because their daughter was still very young. Hye-seung did not want her child to grow up without the protection of a father, but in Nam-sik's heart at this time, there was only Yoo-hui's image and the happy life between the two of them, so he completely forgot about the existence of his wife and daughter. In the end, he only left an apology and left without looking back. That night, Nam-sik went to live with Yoo-hui. Now, he had completely abandoned his family, happily spending the night with Yoo-hui. The next day, Hye-seung calmed down and agreed to her husband's request for a divorce. Afterwards, Nam-sik went to Yoo-hui again, hoping to get back the money he had previously deposited with her to pay for his daughter's alimony. At this time, Yoo-hui revealed her true nature. She said that since the money was in her hands, it was hers. Moreover, she did not expect that she would make him divorce. According to her, it was because Nam-sik voluntarily left his wife and children. Yoo-hui also frankly said that his use of public funds had nothing to do with her. After saying that, she left. Only then did Nam-sik realize that he had been deceived. Even he did not expect that one day he would fall into such a situation. What made him even more regretful was that the company had investigated his use of public funds. He did not expect that Yoo-hui would put all the responsibility on him. Faced with the company's questioning, Nam-sik could only say that all the money was in Yoo-hui's hands, that she had harmed him. But unexpectedly, the man on the other side directly played a recording. In it, Yoo-hui cried extremely miserably. She said that she was drunk that day and was raped by Nam-sik in a hotel. Therefore, she could only cover up the fact that she used his public funds. After listening to the recording, Nam-sik was extremely stunned. Now, not only would he have to bear the two crimes of rape and using public funds, but he would also most likely be forced to pay compensation. But for Yoo-hui's slander, Nam-sik really had no other choice. Now it was good. He was fired and even sued by the company. On the other side, Yoo-hui had no shame and went to find Hye-seung. Yoo-hui told Hye-seung to take good care of her husband. She said that Hye-seung's husband often came to harass and threaten her, and even asked her to marry him. Yoo-hui said that a young and beautiful person like her had no interest in Hye-seung's former husband. That night, Nam-sik could not accept the truth. It was clear that a few days ago, he was still an important employee of the company. Now, just because of a woman, he lost everything and was even sued. Nam-sik slowly walked up to the rooftop, preparing to end this tragic life of his. In the last moments of his life, he called Hye-seung, telling her everything. He admitted that Yoo-hui had deceived him. Hye-seung heard her husband's unusual mood on the phone, so she immediately drove home. But when she arrived, it was too late. Seeing this scene, Hye-seung was very shocked. At this time, Yoo-hui was still enjoying the fruits of victory, swimming in the swimming pool of a luxurious hotel. The next day, before Hye-seung could stop suffering, a group of people from the court came to seal and confiscate all the property in the house. They did not even leave her soccer shoes. Hye-seung lost her source of income and could only go out to work. She went to her former university professor, hoping that he could use his connections to find her a job. However, this professor appeared to be a learned man on the surface, but his actions were not proper. After talking for a while, he wanted to start a sexual act. Finally, Hye-seung couldn't stand it anymore and found an excuse to leave. But unexpectedly, as soon as she went out, she met her first love, Seok-jin. Now she was in no mood to talk to him anymore. She just wanted to leave quickly. But Seok-jin still hadn't forgotten her, and even took the initiative to give her his business card. Seok-jin told her to contact him if anything happened. Unexpectedly, not long after the incident, Hye-seung and Yoo-hui met here. Hye-seung wanted to return the card, but after learning the situation from the assistant, she decided not to return the card. She didn't join this date to find a rich young master, but to take revenge on Yoo-hui. But as soon as she stepped outside, she saw Yoo-hui standing in front of the door waiting for her. Yoo-hui stepped forward and mocked Hye-seung, saying that she had just lost her husband not long ago and was already in a hurry to find a new lover. Yoo-hui even shamelessly told her what Nam-sik had done to her, but these words didn't make Hye-seung angry at all. She even provoked her back, saying that no one would dare to love her if they knew what she had done. This made Yoo-hui's face change color. She threatened Hye-seung that it was best not to make up nonsense about her outside, but Hye-seung saw her worried appearance and just leisurely left. On the other side, Rex's internal team was also starting to select the list for the gala night. They selected the 5 most outstanding women, including Yoo-hui, but Yoo-seon felt that Yoo-hui did not have a wealthy family background, so she wanted to get rid of her. The next day, Hye-seung went to Rex's company again. She wanted to pay for the vase that she broke yesterday. At this time, she saw the notice board that Yoo-seon would be giving a speech tonight. Out of curiosity, she entered the conference room. Yoo-seon was now standing on the stage, giving a speech full of confidence. In her eyes, her husband did not need to love her too much. As long as the other party had the ability to help her, that was enough. The reality of Yoo-seon's love also moved Hye-seung. When the conference ended, she took the initiative to find Yoo-seon. Hye-seung asked Yoo-seon what she should do if she wanted to seek revenge. revenge. Yoo-sun could tell at a glance that Hye-seung was a thoughtful person, so she answered Hee-sun seriously. Yoo-sun said that if you want to destroy someone, you have to become the person they fear the most. If your current ability can't do that, then use others to achieve your goals. Once you stand in a certain position, there's nothing you can't do. Hearing this, Hee-seung was deeply moved. At this moment, Yoo-hui suddenly appeared in front of the two. She said that she had something to discuss with Yoo-sun. Yoo-sun tactfully refused her. She said that if there was any problem, she could contact the manager. After that, the two women went to the restroom together. Yoo-hui questioned Hee-seung about what she had said in front of Yoo-sun, but Hye-seung didn't want to pay attention to her at all. Yoo-hui had also already investigated that Hye-seung was working at a university. If her students found out what Nam-sik did to Hye-seung, how would they view this teacher? Yoo-hui wanted to threaten Hye-seung like this, so that she would know it was difficult to retreat. But Hye-seung had already known Yoo-hui's true face. She had nothing to lose now. Now, the only thing she wanted to do was make Yoo-hui pay the price. Ever since Hye-seung reappeared, this made Yoo-hui extremely angry and uneasy. Even in her sleep, she dreamed that she was marrying into a wealthy family. Now was the crucial moment. She couldn't let Hye-seung's appearance cause all her plans to fail. So the next day, she went to the school where Hye-seung was teaching. She offered a large bribe and asked Hye-seung to participate in this school activity. So the professor went to Hye-seung. He agreed to put her on the official payroll, but she needed to participate in this cooperation. For Hye-seung, this was good news. She was also very happy to receive it. But when she saw that the investor who came in was Yoo-hui, her face changed. Hye-seung didn't expect Yoo-hui to be so vicious. When Yoo-hui and Hye-seung started negotiating, she wanted to resolve their relationship, but Hye-seung couldn't let her off that easily. It was because of Yoo-hui that her family was broken up like today. It could be seen that the two of them couldn't compromise. In the end, they left in an unhappy atmosphere at all. Yoo-hui had no other choice but to use her last resort. She directly barged into Yoo-sun's office and told her secret. It turned out that Yoo-hui was the illegitimate daughter of Councillor Jung. He was very likely to be elected president in the next term, but Councillor Jung had always seen Yoo-hui as a disgrace, so he didn't acknowledge this daughter. However, she saw Yoo-hui as a threat. If Yoo-sun had this secret, she would have known about Councillor Jung's weakness. Yoo-hui's purpose was also very clear. This was a secret deal between the two, so that she could become a VIP member and have the opportunity to approach Youngju. Yoo-sun saw the photo in hand and fell into deep thought, because the person who wanted to cooperate with her was not only Yoo-hui, but also Councillor Jung's current wife. It turned out that Councillor Jung's wife also had a daughter named Mi-jin. Although she was not Councillor Jung's biological daughter, she was still fair and square, bearing the name of his daughter. He also loved Mi-jin very much. Moreover, Councillor Jung was also a famous figure in the Blue House. His wife thought that she was now firmly at the pinnacle of politics. Her daughter also had to become a woman who held power and wealth. The mother and daughter worked closely together and would rise to a position that no one would dare to touch. Therefore, Councillor Jung's wife had already sought out Yoo-sun. She proposed the condition of transferring the land development rights as a condition for the transaction. She only needed to match Mi-jin and Hyungju. Compared to the condition that Yoo-hui proposed, Councillor Jung's wife's condition was even more attractive. If she could successfully obtain the land development rights, Yoo-sun would have the right to negotiate with her husband to give her 50% of the corporation's shares. It turned out that although Yoo-sun had married into a wealthy family, she was like a servant to her husband. By serving him every day, she had been able to gain the status of becoming the president of Rex. But if she wanted to obtain this corporation, she would have to use tricks. After carefully choosing between the two sides, comparing the conditions of Yoo-hui and the conditions of Councillor Jung's wife, Yoo-sun finally chose the more pampered was Mi-jin. She had also thought of a countermeasure. This would be a masked ball, selecting the 20 most valuable men from the VIP membership list. Of course, the female guests selected would also have to be extremely outstanding. Everyone could express themselves, using fair methods to find their partners. This way, not only would the client's information be protected, but it would also increase the sense of mystery. They would not be able to reveal any information. Otherwise, they would be directly eliminated. Very quickly, the selected women received invitations to the ball. The manager, who had received bribes from Yoo-hui, also quickly reported this news to her. This was a good opportunity, because there would be no need to compare family backgrounds. As long as Yoo-hui exuded her charm in the ball, she would definitely be able to become the #1 person. Furthermore, based on her current membership level, Hye-seung was no longer qualified to participate in the ball. Hearing this, Yoo-hui felt very relieved, but she did not know that Yoo-sun had already invited Hye-seung, who had a normal status, to come. Yoo-sun had discovered that there was something unusual about the relationship between Hye-seung and Yoo-hui, so she wanted to make this matter a little more interesting. At first, Hye-seung was not interested after hearing it and originally wanted to refuse, but in the end, when she learned that Yoo-hui was also participating, she decided to accept the invitation. Afterwards, Yoo-sun went to ask Hyungju for her opinion again, but he felt that this type of ball was not suitable for him, so he decisively refused the invitation. Hyungju himself participated in this matchmaking because his mother had decided for him. His mother hoped that he could find a wife who was understanding, compatible, and could take care of the family and children. But Hyungju and his mother had different second thoughts. He just wanted a young woman who could understand him. Seeing the dissatisfaction of the VIP customers, Yoo-sun immediately said that this appointment was prepared only because of him. Because the participants this time were all carefully selected characters, Hyung-ju could choose the type of person he liked at that party. At the same time, wearing a mask could also hide his true identity. Basically, there was no relationship based on benefit at all. Love like that was the most genuine. It turned out that Hyung-ju had also experienced a marriage. Moreover, he also had a son in his tens, but his wife had an affair and he found out, so he chose to divorce. This made him extremely resentful of love. His son also lacked his mother's love since he was young, so he became a withdrawn person. That's why his mother was eager to find a wife for him. Under Yoo-sun's brainwashing, Hyung-ju was really shaken, so he finally agreed to come. Things were gradually developing according to Yoo-sun's plan. She originally thought that she would wait for a while for her husband to die, then all the assets would belong to her. She didn't expect that the son, who had cut ties with him for more than 10 years, would suddenly return. The son's return made him very happy, and he even took the initiative to advise the son to move back home. Seok-jin also naturally agreed, but this time, he came back not to take care of his paralyzed father, but to take back everything that belonged to him. This was also his mother's only wish when she passed away. In order to fulfill his mother's wish, even if he didn't want to, Seok-jin had to pretend in front of his father. Yoo-sun appeared very happy on the surface, because the father and son had finally reconciled. But in reality, she had long been aware of the approaching danger. The father began to worry when he saw that his son was already 40 years old and still unmarried. He thought about the fact that his wife was working in this industry, so he wanted her to arrange a suitable person for his son. Yoo-sun told her husband that she was planning to hold a ball recently. When the husband heard this, he immediately asked his son to attend. Although Seok-jin didn't like it, he had no choice but to make his father happy. Very quickly, the lavish ball of the upper class officially began. All the young ladies tried their best to make themselves as beautiful as possible, then put on the exquisite masks. They did everything just to have the opportunity to participate in this date, to become Hyung-ju's wife, to become the mistress of a real noble family. The most unscrupulous person in this ball was Yoo-hui. She bribed the manager to know that Hyung-ju would wear the mask of Zeus god at the party. She put on a long red dress and walked in, successfully becoming the focus of everyone at the party. A moment later, a man in a white suit came over and invited Yoo-hui to dance, but her goal was very clear. Faced with the man's invitation, she didn't even bother to look. Yoo-hui saw the man wearing the mask of Zeus god enter the party. She began to identify her target and prepare for action. Seeing him drinking and dancing with another woman, Yoo-hui immediately rushed forward, pulled the man to the center of the stage. She frantically made seductive movements. Each movement was an intimate contact, but what she didn't expect was that Yoo-sun had already predicted that someone would spread Hyung-ju's identity, so she switched the Zeus god mask and the white mask. Therefore, the person with Yoo-hui was actually Seok-jin, and billionaire Hyung-ju was the man in the white mask that she had just rejected. Currently, he was standing in a corner, enjoying himself. The only person who recognized his true identity was the woman in black, Mi-jin. Mi-jin recognized at a glance that the person standing in the corner was Hyung-ju, so she immediately approached him. Hyung-ju really had no interest in a woman who intentionally approached him like Mi-jin, but Mi-jin did not give up. She pulled Hyung-ju up to the front of the stage, then also stepped up to compare her charm with Yoo-hui. Everyone was enjoying the ball. At this time, a woman wearing a white mask was standing far away from the stage, observing the bustling scene. She was not very interested in the ball. Her purpose was only to punish Yoo-hui. After seeing the tattoo on the shoulder of the woman in the red dress, she finally confirmed that she was Yoo-hui. After performing on the stage, Yoo-hui invited Seok-jin, who was wearing a mask, to the billiard table. Not only did she show off her top-notch skills, she also paid attention to using every action to seduce her target. At this time, another woman came and interrupted. The man in the white mask also walked in front of Yoo-hui. He was attracted to Yoo-hui, but she still didn't know that he was the real Hyung-ju. She didn't even bother to look at him, and she directly refused. For the first time, a billionaire like him felt such a painful rejection, and he didn't have the courage to move forward anymore. After that, Yoo-hui deliberately walked in front of Seok-jin, pretending to drop his earrings on the ground. Yoo-hui took the opportunity when he helped her pick up her earrings to ask him out. The two of them went out to the hallway together. Yoo-hui kept introducing himself, saying that she was a lawyer, a valuable assistant for his future work. Seok-jin said that he wasn't a businessman, but Yoo-hui didn't think much about it and still didn't realize that she had found the wrong person. She simply thought that since it wasn't the end of the party yet, this man was still hiding his identity. Then, her hands began to involuntarily slide over Seok-jin's body. Yoo-hui saw that he didn't refuse, so she tried to probe him and went to kiss him. But at this moment, Hye-seung appeared again, ruining Yoo-hui's plan. After that, Seok-jin also left, making Yoo-hui very angry. Yoo-hui didn't know who this woman in the white mask was, but felt that she was targeting him. Yoo-hui was about to rush forward to take off Hye-seung's mask, but was attracted by a couple behind him. The two returned to the lobby. At this time, Hyung-ju, after being rejected, finally noticed the woman who had been sitting quietly to the side. He took the initiative to go over and greet Hye-seung and talk to her. She was originally a normal lecturer at a university. Today, she came here for another another purpose. Hyungju feels extremely curious when he hears her story, and began to develop an interest in the woman in front of her. At this time, Seok-jin also approached them. He heard Hye-seung say that she was a graduate of Seoul Academy and couldn't help but think of his first girlfriend. But he didn't know that the woman wearing a white mask standing in front of him was her. Jin, who had been standing next to Hyungju, also joined in the conversation. Yoo-hui saw that her target was talking to someone else, which made her extremely angry, so she immediately approached, acting intimately towards Seok-jin. Yoo-hui deliberately said that she still had something to say to Seok-jin, and then asked him out. Before she could even take a few steps, she pretended to fall to the ground. Both Seok-jin and Hyungju reached out to support her at the same time. And of course, she didn't hesitate to choose the person she thought was Hyungju. Everything was seen by Yoo-sun standing upstairs. Very quickly, it was the last part. Everyone took off their masks to introduce their true identities. Yoo-hui also became the center of attention. As soon as she took off her mask, she received countless applause from everyone at the party. But she didn't expect that the woman wearing the white mask was Hye-seung. This made her extremely nervous in an instant. Hye-seung was also prepared. When she stood up, preparing to expose all of Yoo-hui's crimes in front of everyone, a married couple joined in the chaos. By the time Hye-seung returned, Yoo-hui had already taken the opportunity to run away. The two men rushed to fight. The scene became extremely chaotic, causing the guests at the scene to take the opportunity to run away. Yoo-hui saw the man in the black suit take off the Zeus mask. She immediately went up to call him back, but when he turned around, it was not Hyungju whom she wanted to marry. This made Yoo-hui extremely stunned, but what surprised her even more was that Hyungju was the man who came from behind. The two looked at each other for a few seconds, but did not say a word. It was not until Yoo-hui saw the white mask in his hand that she realized she had mistaken the person. Seeing Hyungju get into the car and leave, she still had not come to her senses, just standing there, extremely regretful. When she got home, she angrily called the manager to question why Hye-seung appeared at the party scene. The manager said that Hye-seung was invited by Yoo-sun. At this moment, Yoo-hui realized that he had been tricked by Yoo-sun. Although the date had ended, everyone would have a partner that was deeply engraved in their hearts. If they chose one, they could register through Rex. Because the manager received a bribe from Yoo-hui, Yoo-hui immediately went to inquire about who Hyungju had chosen, but the manager said that even the department head didn't know, so she didn't know either. At the same time, the department head went to Yoo-sun's office and reported that I actually knew who Hyungju had chosen, but didn't tell Yoo-hui. The manager suspiciously asked Yoo-sun why Hyungju had chosen Hye-seung out of so many excellent women at the ball. Yoo-sun just smiled and said nothing. Moreover, the person who chose Hye-seung wasn't just Hyungju, but also her first love boyfriend, Seok-jin. Hye-seung came to visit Yoo-sun again. The purpose of her coming here this time was to tell Yoo-sun about Yoo-hui's evil deeds. Yoo-sun also understood that Hye-seung did not come because of the appointment. The two sat down, and Hye-seung began to express the hatred in her heart. Yoo-hui had taken advantage of her husband's embezzlement, then framed him. In the end, this led to her husband being unable to bear it and choosing to leave this world. After knowing everything, Yoo-sun was not surprised. Hye-seung felt that a woman like Yoo-hui, who would do anything to achieve her goals, did not deserve happiness, and she could not continue to harm others. Yoo-sun had also investigated Yoo-hui's background. It was clear that she did not have any scandals. Therefore, they had no reason to remove her from the membership list. Even if she had scandals that were not investigated, it was all caused by Hye-seung's husband. Even if Yoo-hui was removed from the membership list, there would still be more than 800 matchmaking companies in the country. Could it be that Hye-seung would be able to cling on Yoo-hui forever? Yoo-sun said that if Hye-seung wanted to deal with this kind of person, she needed to change herself first. Only when she became strong would she be able to make others fear her. Only then could he find a better way to take revenge. After hearing this, Hye-seung was stunned for a long time, but after reacting, she still did not agree with Yoo-sun's thoughts. Then, she turned around and left. As soon as she stepped out the door, she met Yoo-hui again. Yoo-hui saw Hye-seung's unsightly expression and felt extremely pleased. Yoo-hui believed that she would definitely get everything she wanted. Hye-seung declared that she would definitely not let Yoo-hui get what she wanted. The battle between the two of them had just begun. The purpose of Yoo-hui's visit to Yoo-sun this time was to meet Hyungju once. Yoo-hui thought that at the party, because of her own eyesight, she had left a bad impression on him. If Yoo-sun could create an opportunity for the two of them to meet again, she would definitely always be on Yoo-sun's side. Seeing how stubborn Yoo-hui was, Yoo-sun agreed to her request. She went to Hyungju and told him that the person he chose, Hye-seung, did not choose him. Moreover, she was married and was raising a child alone. Wealthy upper-class men like Hyungju would back out when they heard that the other person had a child. After hearing that, Hyungju really showed a disappointed expression. Yoo-sun also took this opportunity to introduce Yoo-hui to him. She said that Yoo-hui had chosen him. If he agreed, she could help him make an appointment with Yoo-hui. Hyungju was very suspicious. It was obvious that at the party, she had ignored him many times. Every time he invited her, she had refused. However, out of curiosity, Hyungju finally agreed to Yoo-sun's request. He also wanted to see what Yoo-hui was thinking. On the other side, Seok-jin used the clues to find the school where Hye-seung was teaching. He thought that Hye-seung appeared at the ball that day because she was divorced. He didn't expect that she would say it was because of her husband. After understanding everything, knowing that Hye-seung was having a hard time, Seok-jin wanted to help but was rejected by her. Hye-seung recalled that at the ball, Yoo-hui was very proactive in approaching Seok-jin. She reminds Seok-jin that it's best to stay away from Yoo-hui for a bit because her husband died because of Yoo-hui. At night, Yoo-hui was arranged by Yoo-sun to go to a restaurant. Here she met the rich Hyung-ju, whom she wanted to marry. Hyung-ju asked Yoo-hui many questions, why she was so cold to him at the ball, but now she chose him. Yoo-hui intentionally acted extremely cold, showing that she was not interested in Hyung-ju, but seeing him alone in the hall, she couldn't bear it, so she chose him. Afterwards, Yoo-hui pretended not to know Hyung-ju's identity, asking what his company was called. After hearing Hyung-ju's answer, she pretended to be surprised. She said that she had once spent a month's salary to buy equipment in his company's game. Under Yoo-hui's scheming and cunning, the two of them also began to get to know each other better. Elsewhere, under Yoo-sun's arrangement, Hye-seung also entered a restaurant with the man she had feelings for. Before the two could say anything, the man deliberately used the excuse of enjoying the food to trick Hye-seung into going upstairs. When the door opened, he started to drag her away, wanting to enter a room. Hye-seung was scared and ran away in panic. She immediately called Seok-jin for help. Seok-jin rushed over and saw Hye-seung. He was relieved to know that she was okay. Afterwards, the two went to the bar together and started to reminisce. Seok-jin finally told her the reason for breaking up with Hye-seung that year. It turned out that although Seok-jin's father seemed to care for him very much now, when he was young, his father was often violent towards his mother. And before that, Seok-jin also had an older brother who was beaten to the point of near death because he tried to stop his parents from arguing. Seok-jin's mother couldn't accept this and started staying in the hospital until she passed away. So many years passed, Seok-jin still hated his father, but at most he just wanted to leave. So after the college entrance exam, he resolutely left Korea and went to study abroad in America because he was afraid that one day he wouldn't be able to bear it and kill his father, and then it would implicate Hye-seung. That's why he chose to leave silently blessing her. Hearing everything, Hye-seung was very surprised in her heart. She didn't expect that when he was young, he still had many secrets that no one knew, but so many years had passed, and in the end, the two of them still missed each other. At this time, Hye-seung raised his head and noticed Yoo-hui drinking nearby, and she was also looking at Hye-seung. Hye-seung didn't understand clearly. At the ball, she showed a lot of affection for Seok-jin, but why is she with Hyung-ju now? On this side, Seok-jin answered the question in Hye-seung's heart. Maybe because the two of them changed masks, Yoo-hui mistook the person, and her target has always been billionaire Hyung-ju. Hye-seung was just about to stand up and expose Yoo-hui's true face to Hyung-ju when she discovered that the two of them had disappeared. After the date ended, Hyung-ju sent Yoo-hui to the door. At this time, she thought in her heart to let him go up with her. Yoo-hui slowly walked into the elevator. The two of them looked at each other, waiting for the elevator door to close. What happened next was unexpected. Those two people just magically slept together. Yoo-hui's tricks were truly profound. Just like that, they decided to enter a love relationship. The next day, Hyung-ju generously gave her an incredibly expensive ring. Yoo-hui thought that she could win over billionaire Hyung-ju. Unexpectedly, when she waited until evening, she invited him to the bar for a few drinks again, but he refused her with the excuse of being busy with work. It turned out that what happened between the two was Hyung-ju probing her, and Yoo-hui thought that her plan had succeeded, so she started to intentionally cause trouble for Hye-seung. She took advantage of her position to reclaim the house that Hye-seung's husband had mortgaged and hastily intervened in the project she was in charge of at the school, forcing the school to force Hye-seung to quit her job. But she didn't expect that the school leaders saw that Hye-seung was a bit pitiful, so they introduced her to a tutoring job at a family. Unexpectedly, the student Hye-seung tutored was Hyung-ju's son, so Hye-seung met him again. The two greeted each other, but Hyung-ju didn't recognize that she was the woman she had chosen at the matchmaking ball. He only felt like they had met before, but didn't think much of it. Hye-seung saw the man in front of her. She knew he was Hyung-ju. Hye-seung didn't choose to use tricks to get the person she wanted, but she also had a new plan. That was when Yoo-hui was happiest, then exposing her true face. The next day, Yoo-hui went on a date with Hyung-ju again, planning to see if the two could travel together, but he didn't have this plan, just discussed it casually, and that was it. Afterwards, Yoo-hui took the initiative to ask Hyung-ju to take him home, and even wanted the two of them to be alone together, so she deliberately told the company driver to leave. Unexpectedly, she accidentally saw Hye-seung coming out of Hyung-ju's house. Yoo-hui was extremely surprised. After hearing Hyung-ju say that this was his son's tutor, Yoo-hui was shocked. She told him that Hye-seung was Athena who appeared at the matchmaking ball. Only then did he understand why she felt familiar. In order to prevent Hye-seung from exposing her secret, Yoo-hui started to frame her. She pushed everything she had done onto Hye-seung and said that Hye-seung had done a lot of bad things, often seducing men to get money from them. Moreover, many people had fallen into the trap. Unexpectedly, Hye-seung's current target was Hyung-ju. After hearing this, he felt confused. What he hated the most was talking behind someone's back. After Hyung-ju returned home, Hye-seung suddenly came back. It turned out that she had left her phone at his house, but this made him misunderstand her and believe that what Yoo-hui said was true. Hyung-ju thought that Hye-seung was approaching him on purpose, so he held Hye-seung's hand and asked her if she was approaching him on purpose. After hearing this, Hye-seung felt confused. She felt that his actions were unreasonable, and she herself did not need to be polite to this kind of unreasonable person. Hye-seung bluntly told Hyung-ju that after his son finished his final exams this time, she would take the initiative to quit her job. After leaving Hyung-ju's house, Hye-seung was very heartbroken. She did not expect that she would be misunderstood by others. Hye-seung accelerated and started the car to leave, but on the way, another car forced her to stop. Hye-seung got out of the car and discovered that it was Yoo-hui. She went crazy and rushed forward to warn Hye-seung not to come near her. Now even Hye-seung wanted to enter Hyung-ju's house. Hye-seung said that she would definitely expose Yoo-hui's true colors. She could never marry into a rich family. Yoo-hui pretended that she and Hye-seung were not on the same level. If she dared to provoke Yoo-hui, she would definitely not let it go. Only then did Hye-seung understand why Hyung-ju suddenly suspected her. Yoo-hui did not deny it. She even used these things to threaten Hye-seung. If Hye-seung dared to reveal her secret, she would tell the public that Hye-seung's husband raped her. She even used Hye-seung's child to force her. Hye-seung was angered by her, but could do nothing. The next day, Yoo-hui went to find Ho-chan and decided to join Ho-won's legal team because she knew all of Ho-won's duties, which was to be in charge of legal advice for Hyung-ju's company. Yoo-hui wanted to use this to gain Hyung-ju's trust. She revealed to Ho-chan that she was Hyung-ju's girlfriend and the future female boss of the company. Her joining would definitely help the relationship between the two sides become closer. Ho-chan also agreed with her. Elsewhere, Yoo-sun met Hyung-ju's mother again. Hyung-ju's mother asked Yoo-sun why her son's love life had not progressed recently. Yoo-sun told her not to worry. She had already arranged everything properly. Actually, Yoo-sun did not like Yoo-hui from the beginning. She had already seen through Yoo-hui's scheme. One day she would reveal her true nature. When Hyung-ju's feelings for Yoo-hui fade, he would realize how scary the girls who approached him were. At that time, she would give him the most suitable choice. The most suitable choice Yoo-sun was thinking of was Mi-jin. Only if Mi-jin and Hyung-ju got together could she gain ownership of that piece of land. Very quickly, Yoo-sun started to act. First, she let Mi-jin intentionally approach Hyung-ju's mother and then gain Hyung-ju's mother's support. Then, she went to Hyung-ju to inquire about his and Yoo-hui's current situation. When she saw that Hyung-ju had realized that Yoo-hui was with him for money, Yoo-sun immediately introduced Mi-jin. Yoo-sun told Hyung-ju that what he needed now was not love, but someone who could help him in his career, and Mi-jin was the most suitable person for him. Not only could she help him in his career, but she could also take care of his family for him. Hearing Yoo-sun's brainwashing words, Hyung-ju was once again shaken. So, when Rex held an internal meeting, they discussed the first meeting place of Hyung-ju and Mi-jin. Some people suggested meeting somewhere quiet and poetic, others suggested meeting at a golf course. As for Yoo-sun, after analyzing Hyung-ju's personality for a while, she decided to book the entire racetrack. So Hyung-ju and Mi-jin had a very smooth first date. The two had many common views. When the date ended, Hyung-ju started to probe Mi-jin again. He asked Mi-jin if she wanted to go for a few drinks. Although Mi-jin really wanted to go, she still listened to Yoo-sun's arrangement. She refused Hyung-ju on the grounds that she had urgent matters. This helped her temporarily pass Hyung-ju's first test. At this time, Yoo-hui still did not realize the danger approaching. She thought Hyung-ju would go to the golf course today, so she put on her makeup and followed Ho-chan here, but she didn't see Hyung-ju. This made her very disappointed. On the other side, Yoo-sun was also asking about Hyung-ju and Mi-jin's date. After hearing Hyung-ju's comment that Mi-jin was a calm and professional girl, Yoo-sun said that only a woman like Mi-jin could bring stability and trust, and was also very suitable to be the wife of a successful man like Hyung-ju. After hearing Yoo-sun's brainwashing words, Hyung-ju agreed to continue dating Mi-jin. On the other side, Hyung-ju's son finished his exam. Unexpectedly, under Hee-sun's guidance, Hyung-ju's son, Jun-ho, scored 100 for the first time. This made the boy and his grandmother very happy. They were very grateful for Hee-sun's help. In the evening, when Hee-sung finished teaching Jun-ho's last lesson, Hyung-ju's mother wanted to invite her to stay for dinner, but Hye-sung refused, saying that this was her last lesson teaching Jun-ho. After saying that, she bowed and prepared to leave, but Jun-ho and his grandmother couldn't bear to do so. They both thought Hye-sung was a good teacher. Hyung-ju's mother asked Hye-sung why she wanted to leave. After learning that it was because of the promise she made to Hyung-ju, both of them couldn't understand anything and just stood there in confusion. Hye-sung turned around and left. While Hyung-ju remained motionless at the dining table, Jun-ho was so angry with his father that he didn't even eat his meal and went straight upstairs. Even his mother scolded Hyung-ju. It was hard for Jun-ho to meet such a good teacher. Moreover, she could see how dedicated Hee-sen was to teaching. After that, Hyung-ju went to comfort her son, promising to find Jun-ho a better teacher. But Jun-ho refused. He just wanted Hee-sen to teach him. At the same time, he couldn't understand what his father did. Hyung-ju also didn't understand why her son liked Hye-seung so much. Jun-ho said that it was because he and Hye-seung had a soul connection. Every time he was with her, Jun-ho felt like he was with his mother. To him, Hee-seung was not only a teacher, but also someone who inspired him to live. It was the first time he had met such a responsible teacher. After hearing the comments of his mother and son about Hye-seung, Hyung-ju fell into deep thought again. After that, Hyung-ju made an appointment to meet the man he met at the last ball. Through Seok-jin's introduction, Hyung-ju finally understood Hye-seung's personality. Seok-jin said that Hye-seung was a very professional person, usually very invested in her work, and had no intention of remarrying. Even her mother secretly registered for Rex. After learning that she had misunderstood Hye-seung, Hyung-ju took the initiative to invite Hye-seung to lunch and apologize to her. At the same time, he hoped that she could return to being a literature teacher for her son. Hye-seung said that she would think about it. Afterwards, Hyung-ju curiously asked Hye-seung about the ball that day. What exactly did Hye-seung want to say? Hye-seung told Hyung-ju her story. Her husband had asked for a divorce because of a woman. That woman had deliberately seduced her husband and even incited her husband to embezzle. After the matter was revealed, the woman not only blamed Hye-seung's husband for everything, but even falsely accused him of rape. Hye-seung's husband also chose to leave this world because of this. Hyung-ju asked if the other woman was also present at the ball that day. Hye-seung did not tell Hyung-ju who the woman was because she had made up her mind to expose Joo-hui's crimes to the public when Yoo-hui was at his most proud. Only then would she be worthy of what Hye-seung and her daughter had lost because of Yoo-hui. Hyung-ju comforted Hye-seung that the pain she had endured would fade away over time. In fact, Hyung-ju also had her own thoughts. Although he did not lack money, the women who approached him all had their own purposes. He wanted to find a woman who was sincere to him. On the other hand, Yoo-hui, who was immersed in love, finally came to her senses. After hearing that Yoo-seon had introduced a blind date to Hyung-ju again, she went to find Yoo-seon and said that Hyung-ju now loved her. Yoo-hui asked Yoo-seon not to waste her efforts. Actually, from the beginning, Yoo-seon didn't like Yoo-hui, the type of person who just wanted to quickly marry into a wealthy family like her. Couldn't Hyung-ju not see that? Thanks to Yoo-seon's reminder, Yoo-hui realized that the ring Hyung-ju gave her that night was just a test. Yoo-seon also kindly reminded Yoo-hui to be careful of Hye-seung. The relationship between Hyung-ju and Hye-seung was not normal at all. Hye-seung could even freely enter and exit Hyung-ju's house. Yoo-hui told Yoo-seon not to worry about this. Sooner or later she would deal with Hye-seung. On the other side, because she felt guilty, Hyung-ju gave Hye-seung a car. But this gift was too big for Hye-seung. She firmly refused. This made Hyung-ju feel very surprised. That evening, Yoo-hui sat looking at the ring Hyung-ju gave her, seemingly calculating something in her heart. She sent a message to Hyung-ju hoping to meet him, but Hyung-ju was still thinking about misunderstanding Hye-seung. How could he be in the mood to think about her? So, Yoo-hui went straight to Hyung-ju's house to find Hyung-ju, returning the diamond ring Hyung-ju gave her. Yoo-hui originally didn't want to be a mistress. What she wanted was to become the boss of this house, but she didn't expect that she would be treated so coldly by just receiving a ring. At the same time, she said that if it was to compensate for that night, then she didn't need it. But after walking a few steps, Yoo-hui turned back. She said that Hyung-ju was really arrogant and self-confident, so he thought that she was with him for money. Yoo-hui said that she didn't like Hyung-ju at first, and only agreed to contact him because Yoo-seon had introduced her many times. In the end, Yoo-hui used a trick to provoke him. She said that there was no need to continue dating someone like Hyung-ju, who didn't understand the most basic requirement of respecting others. At the same time, she also said that she was tired of playing that night and didn't need Hyung-ju to compensate her. Yoo-hui's time standing there talking was not in vain. Hyung-ju's self-esteem had been hit. Yoo-hui's top-notch acting had successfully aroused Hyung-ju's competitive spirit. Yoo-hui was indeed very experienced in seducing men. After that, the two went to the wine cellar to choose wine. Yoo-hui, who had just insisted on breaking up, now started another scheme. She took the initiative to propose to be friends with Hyung-ju. Hyung-ju happily agreed with her. After all, having another confidant wouldn't be a loss. But Yoo-hui didn't think so, because her so-called friends had countless possibilities. While the two were choosing wine, Hye-seung led Jun-ho in. Seeing that her good thing was ruined by Hye-seung, Yoo-hui was extremely angry. Hye-seung suddenly appeared here because Jun-ho planned to go see his mother today to show off his 100 points in literature. But seeing that his mother was currently living a good life, Jun-ho couldn't bear to bother her. So he sat under his mother's building for several hours. After hearing about it, Hyung-ju asked Hye-seung to pick her son up and take him home. That's why she appeared here. But Yoo-hui didn't care what the reason was. She went crazy and dragged Hye-seung out. The fight between the two women was about to break out, so dramatic that the two of them almost fought. Facing Yoo-hui's evil schemes, Hye-seung was not inferior. But unexpectedly, the next day Yoo-hui once again harmed Hye-seung. She took advantage of her position in the company and auctioned off the house Hye-seung was living in. Hye-seung's car was also temporarily taken back by the company for unknown reasons. Hye-seung's life was already difficult. Now it was even more difficult. Because the house they were living in would be auctioned off tomorrow, Hye-seung and her daughter could only move house overnight. But even so, Yoo-hui still hadn't been sparing them yet. She went directly to Hye-seung to mock her and the daughter, even insulting Hye-seung in front of her daughter. Hye-seung and her helpless daughter didn't know what to do. After Yoo-hui left, Seok-jin heard the news and ran there. After he found out that Hye-seung and her daughter didn't have a house, he bought the entire building. That meant Hye-seung and her daughter didn't need to move house anymore. Although Hye-seung still gave Seok-jin the rent, she was also very grateful for his help. The next day, Yoo-hui was very angry when she heard that Hye-seung was not kicked out. She did not expect that it would be so difficult to teach Hye-seung a lesson lesson now. On the other side, Junho once again scored 100 points in literature subject. This made Hyungju very happy. In order to cheer up her son and thank Hye-seung, Hyungju decided to take his son, Hye-seung, and her daughter on a trip. While they were eating, Hye-seung's daughter called Junho Big Brother. This made Junho very happy, because since his parents divorced, Junho rarely saw his mother. The boy hated his mother for betraying his father, but he also always hoped to receive his mother's love. So Hye-seung's concern for Junho made him really like being with Hye-seung. Afterwards, they went to the fishing boat's bow. While Junho was packing his things, he accidentally cut his hand with a hook. Seeing Junho bleeding, Hye-seung immediately ran over to check on the situation, and at the same time, kindly helped him treat his wound and reminded him not to touch the water. Hyungju saw how affectionate they were, and he stood to the side, feeling extremely touched. It seemed that from that moment on, Hyungju had a special affection for Hye-seung. In fact, he had seen that his son had rarely talked since he was young, but whenever he was with Hye-seung and her daughter, he always laughed and talked happily. At this moment, Hyungju realized how much he owed his son. It was also thanks to Hye-seung's presence that Junho became as optimistic as he is now. At this time, while the two children were jumping around, the sea breeze blew and almost made Hye-seung fall. Fortunately, Hyungju caught her in time. This was the first time the two had physical contact. They both felt very shy. After the outing ended, Hyungju once again gave Hye-seung the same luxury car as before. Hye-seung originally wanted to refuse, but the daughter standing next to her ran quickly into the car. Seeing the daughter's actions, Hye-seung didn't know what to do. Hyungju saw that Hye-seung was embarrassed, so he told her not to think too much. This was just a gift to ask her to take care of Junho. It was that simple. After Hye-seung and her daughter left, Hyungju was very surprised. Junho standing next to him suddenly said that if he had a mother like Hye-seung, he would be very happy. Seeing her son's admiring gaze, Hyungju also laughed. Seok-jin sat alone drinking to relieve his sorrow at night. He saw Hye-seung and Hyungju hanging out online, which Hye-seung's daughter posted online. At this moment, stepmother Yoo-sun entered Seok-jin's room. She agreed to cooperate with him and match him with Hye-seung. So the next day, Yoo-sun used her name to bring Hye-seung to meet Seok-jin. Yoo-sun not only thought that the two of them were a good match, but also introduced her relationship with Seok-jin. But coincidentally, Hyungju and Mi-jin also came here to eat today. This was clearly arranged by Yoo-sun. Before Hye-seung could say anything, Yoo-sun said that the two of them were dating. Hye-seung didn't explain anything to Hyungju, because Hye-seung understood that Yoo-sun did this because she had been going in and out of Hyungju's house recently. She was afraid that she would affect Hyungju and Mi-jin's dating. As for Yoo-sun, she introduced Hye-seung to Seok-jin because she knew that Seok-jin's father would not approve of their relationship. This caused a conflict between the father and son. On the other hand, Hyungju and Mi-jin's date was not very happy. Moreover, Mi-jin deliberately said that the two of them were very compatible, as if they had been in love since college. This reunion could be considered fate, but she did not know that the man sitting in front of her did not want to hear these words. Yoo-hui was also not free at the moment. She was busy planning to harm Hye-seung. She used her position in the company to go to Hyungju's ex-wife's house, and at the same time lied that Hye-seung had used his position as a tutor to intentionally approach Hyungju. Junho also liked this teacher very much, and Hyungju's ex-wife was not very smart. After hearing this, she angrily ran to Hyungju's house. She thought that Junho didn't answer her phone because Hye-seung ordered it. Seeing Hye-seung coming down from upstairs, she started to insult Hye-seung. She said that Hye-seung had done shameless things in front of Junho. Hyungju argued with his ex-wife to protect Hye-seung, but unexpectedly, she slapped him. Hyungju warned his ex-wife not to come here again. If it weren't for his son's sake, he wouldn't have endured like that. Hye-seung and Junho had witnessed their argument. In order to clear Hyungju's mind, the two went to a bar together. Hyungju was in a bad mood, so he decided to drown her sorrows in alcohol. Because both of them had been betrayed in love, they both had pain that others couldn't understand. Hyungju was a little drunk and stared at Hye-seung. At this moment, it seemed like he had fallen in love with Hye-seung. Hye-seung also comforted him that everything was over. Everything would have a new beginning. Hye-seung asked Hyungju to help her with something. Yoo-sun now had a new plan. Yoo-sun told Yoo-hui that Hye-seung had no intention of destroying Yoo-hui's marriage, but rather destroying Yoo-hui's entire life. Only by making Hye-seung completely disappear would everything be truly resolved. Actually, what Yoo-sun wanted was for Hye-seung and Yoo-hui to take revenge on each other, and Mi-jin would easily succeed in dating Hyungju. Only then could she achieve her goal. Stupid Yoo-hui was once again fooled by Yoo-sun's words. While she was thinking about how to deal with Hye-seung, she met the director who was implicated in the embezzlement case that year. The first thing he did after getting out of prison was to go find Yoo-hui. Yoo-hui saw the director and also looked very nervous. It turned out that this director was in jail because he was implicated by Yoo-hui. But because he had received a sum of money from Yoo-hui, he chose to hide the matter between Yoo-hui and Hye-seung's husband. Hye-seung had also come to the prison many times before, hoping that he could report Yoo-hui to court so that Yoo-hui would receive appropriate punishment. But the director did not pay any attention to this request that did not bring him any benefits. The director saw that Yoo-hui's career was currently on the rise while he was in jail for such a long time. He felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart. The director did not say much and directly pulled Yoo-hui to the rooftop. Yoo-hui begged the director to help her one last time. That was to get rid of Hye-seung. Then she would pay him a suitable fee. On the other side, Hyung-ju decided to hold a wine party at his winery. He sent out invitations to everyone. Even Seok-jin's bedridden father came to attend. When he saw Hye-seung's beauty, Seok-jin was immediately attracted. The scene of the two laughing and talking happily together was seen by Seok-jin's father. He went to ask his son if the girl next to him was the girl he liked. Hye-seung quickly denied it. She said that the two were just normal friends. But Seok-jin frankly admitted his feelings for Hye-seung. At the same time, he said that even though Hye-seung had given birth and had been divorced, he would still choose her. These words made the father extremely angry. Hye-seung felt the tense atmosphere, so he turned around and left. But Seok-jin and Hyung-ju both held her back. Seeing that both men were standing up for Hye-seung, Yoo-hui couldn't hold back anymore. She went to tell Hyung-ju that Hye-seung was a woman who would do anything to achieve her goals. Hye-seung wanted to get close to Hyung-ju, so she came to his house to tutor. As she spoke, Yoo-hui took out a recording. The person in the recording was Hye-seung's university professor. He said that Hye-seung knew Hyung-ju's identity from the beginning. She also knew that his family needed a tutor. Even if she quit her job, he would still go there. Seeing Yoo-hui being so shameless, Hye-seung couldn't hold back anymore. She directly took out the ring that Yoo-hui had given her husband as a token of love from her pocket, exposing Yoo-hui's relationship with her husband to the public. After seeing the ring, Yoo-hui looked embarrassed, but still tried to justify herself. Yoo-hui said that she was forced, but Hye-seung said that the name of both of them was on the ring. Moreover, the person who bought the ring was also Yoo-hui. Hye-seung asked Yoo-hui what exactly did she do to make her husband choose to leave this world like that. At this moment, a man suddenly interrupted Hye-seung. That man was the one who knew the situation the best. Judging from the director's demeanor, he was probably on Yoo-hui's side. Yoo-hui saw that her teammates had arrived and immediately retorted that it was because Hye-seung's husband had framed her that the director had to go to jail. The director went straight to Hye-seung and asked her if she really wanted to know the truth. While everyone around was still in shock, the director suddenly slapped Yoo-hui hard. Yoo-hui was also confused about what was happening. The director said that Yoo-hui was still the same as before. It was obvious that she had done something immoral, and yet she was still so arrogant. Then the director played a recording. In the recording, Yoo-hui was blaming Hye-seung's husband. At this moment, the truth was finally revealed. Hye-seung also shed tears unconsciously. Seeing that everything had been exposed, Yoo-hui went crazy and screamed loudly. Later, the police came to arrest her for embezzlement and slander. It turned out that Hyung-ju had held a banquet today because Hye-seung had told him the whole truth. He wanted to help Hye-seung punish the evildoer. Everything finally came to an end. Hyung-ju expressed her feelings to Hye-seung. The two of them also prepared for a new life together. But what Hyung-ju didn't expect was that Yoo-hui, who had just been arrested yesterday, would appear before him again today. It turned out that Yoo-hui had threatened Counselor Jung. If he didn't help her, she would make their relationship public. Because he was afraid that it would affect his election, Counselor Jung took advantage of his power and released his illegitimate daughter. After going out, the first thing Yoo-hui did was to challenge Hyung-ju's group. She said that she wouldn't give up so easily. On the other hand, Yoo-sun went to find Hye-seung again, saying that Seok-jin had quarreled with his father because of her. As for her, she also agreed to support the two of them getting married because of the family property dispute. But Hye-seung had already seen through Yoo-sun's intentions. At this moment, Yoo-hui suddenly walked in from outside. Hye-seung was very surprised to see Yoo-hui. After that, the two of them quarreled again. They all said that they would not let each other go. At this time, Yoo-hui only had one goal. That was to overthrow Hyung-ju and destroy Hye-seung. She knew that her father would definitely protect his perfect image in order to successfully run for president. So she took advantage of this and asked her father to help her take revenge. The first thing to do was to overthrow Hyung-ju's company, because he not only toyed with her feelings, but also betrayed her and stood on Hye-seung's side. Counselor Jung could only agree with Yoo-hui in order to keep this a secret. After that, she went to Hyung-ju's partner. Yoo-hui knew that this man had been plotting to take over Hyung-ju's company for a long time. Moreover, he had an affair with Hyung-ju's ex-wife. Yoo-hui took out a contract. It contained the mistake in the contract to merge Hyung-ju's company. The man only needed to take advantage of this point to defeat Hyung-ju. The man saw this as a good opportunity and agreed to cooperate with Yoo-hui. Very quickly, Hyung-ju's company had a big problem. In order to protect the company, Hyung-ju went to find Counselor Jung for help. Counselor Jung also agreed to cooperate with him, but Hyung-ju was forced to agree to his request. That was to marry the woman he appointed. And the woman that Counselor Jung was talking about was none other than Yoo-hui, his own daughter. It turned out that Yoo-hui still could not let go of his responsibility to marry Hyung-ju. As long as Hyung-ju agreed to propose to Yoo-hui, she would help Hyung-ju solve the current problem. There was no need for Counselor Jung to help. It turned out that Yoo-hui pretended to cooperate with Hyung-ju's company's partner. The purpose was to marry Hyung-ju. On the other side, Mi-jin's mother went to find Counselor Jung, questioning him why he wanted to marry Yoo-hui to Hyung-ju. It was obvious that she had planned to match her daughter with Hyung-ju. Faced with his wife's questioning, Counselor Jung still did not dare to reveal the relationship between himself and Yoo-hui. After all, his election campaign needed his wife's support. Mi-jin's mother also came up with a new plan. She had many many ways to make Yoo-hui disappear from this world. On the other side, Hyungju's mother also went to find Hye-seung. After knowing that her son liked Hye-seung, she gave her some money. She hoped that she could leave her son and no longer need her to tutor Jun-ho. Hye-seung had no intention of remarrying. She also did not accept this money. Today was Hye-seung's daughter's birthday. Hye-seung had come home early to prepare a sumptuous meal. Seok-jin had also brought a cake, but Yoo-hui had no intention of letting them go. She wanted to harm Hye-seung's daughter. A vicious plan was forming in her mind. Not long after, Hye-seung received. After learning about it, Hye-seung was extremely scared. After arriving at the hospital, she saw her daughter lying unconscious on the hospital bed. Hye-seung completely collapsed. The doctor told her that if her daughter did not wake up within 2 weeks, she could only return to take care of the funeral. Hye-seung looked at her daughter lying on the hospital bed. She did not know why this happened. At this time, Yoo-sun also went to visit Hye-seung's daughter. She gave Hye-seung a photo. It was the scene of the transaction between Yoo-hui and the driver who hit Hye-seung's daughter. Hye-seung was extremely heartbroken. She didn't expect Yoo-hui to be so cruel. She wouldn't even spare a child. After hearing that Yoo-hui had harmed Hye-seung's daughter, Hyungju angrily went to find Yoo-hui, but Yoo-hui continued to justify herself. After calming down, Hye-seung took her ex-husband's phone to get it repaired. There were many secrets in the phone. One of them was that Yoo-hui was the illegitimate daughter of Counselor Jung. No wonder she was released so easily. Hye-seung went straight to Counselor Jung and asked him to carefully manage his daughter. But Hye-seung was chased out by the security guard. When Hye-seung got to the door, she met Yoo-hui. Before Yoo-hui could do anything, Hye-seung slapped her. This time she really angered Hye-seung. Hye-seung said that she would definitely make everyone involved pay. After leaving Counselor Jung's office, Hye-seung found a journalist, handed him all the evidence she had in her hands. Hye-seung hoped that he could make everything public. At this time, Yoo-hui also decided to act first to gain the upper hand. She once again used her identity as a stepdaughter to threaten Counselor Jung, asked him to help her deal with Hye-seung for his own path to becoming president. Counselor Jung could only agree. After that, Yoo-hui watched Counselor Jung call his secretary, asked to deal with Hye-seung before leaving with peace of mind. After Hye-seung and the journalist met and were about to go home, a car behind her followed her. That car forced Hye-seung's car to the side of the road. They then knocked Hye-seung unconscious and locked her in the trunk. They then took a photo of Hye-seung's car being crushed by the compression truck and sent it to Yoo-hui before leaving. After seeing these scenes, Yoo-hui felt relieved. At this time, Hyungju suddenly came to agree to Yoo-hui's request. He took Yoo-hui to the place where they were going to get married. He said that although their wedding was not out of love, it could not be held quietly, so he decided to hold a press conference to make the news of their marriage public. Yoo-hui was both happy and worried at this moment. She did not expect Hyungju to be so romantic, so she did not think much and agreed to Hyungju's request. Looking at the things Hyungju had prepared for her, she was deeply moved. After that, the two of them went to the press conference hall together. Hyungju said that he had prepared a big gift for Yoo-hui. The big screen started to show information about Yoo-hui's relationship with Counselor Jung. Yoo-hui was extremely scared at this moment. She wanted to leave in a hurry, but was pulled back by Hyungju. He announced to all the journalists and reporters present at the scene that Yoo-hui was that illegitimate daughter. At the same time, he exposed her for embezzlement and bribery, and even murder. Counselor Jung also saw the information at this time. What he didn't expect was that his secretary and wife had betrayed him long ago. It turned out that Hye-seung had already guessed that Yoo-hui would kill her to silence her, so she had already came to meet Mi-jin's mother, who was also Counselor Jung's wife and secretary, and told her the whole truth, including Yoo-hui's relationship with Counselor Jung, and also saying that she had handed over all the evidence to the reporter. Once something happened to her, all the blame would be placed on Counselor Jung's wife. Counselor Jung, in order to successfully apply for the election, would eventually abandon his wife. So in the end, Mi-jin's mother did not kill Hye-seung, but released her. After everything was exposed, Counselor Jung and Yoo-hui both received their just punishment. A month later, Hye-seung went to the prison to find Yoo-hui. This was probably the first time the two of them had a proper conversation. Hye-seung asked Yoo-hui if she regretted what she had done. Yoo-hui said that she had never regretted it because she had fulfilled her dream. From a young age, her biggest dream was to destroy Counselor Jung. Ever since birth, Yoo-hui had lived in humiliation, so she had to work hard all her life to achieve what she wanted. Hye-seung didn't want to talk much to her, so she stood up and left. Hye-seung's daughter didn't encounter any major problems after waking up. Hye-seung also decided to step in marriage once more. The person holding her hand as she walked in the aisle was Seok-jin, but looking at Seok-jin's expression, it didn't seem very happy. It turned out that he was just a bridesmaid, and the real groom was Hyungju standing in the distance. Although Seok-jin did not want to let go, he still chose to silently bless Hye-seung. The story finally came to a happy ending. Above is the entire content of the movie Marital Ambition. Do you think this movie is good or not? Please send your answer in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, goodbye, and see you in the next videos. Bye.